Hey, Phantomaniacs! Welcome to the newest unboxing here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. This item, well, let me go ahead and reveal. This is the Raven Retro Style action figure from Zombie Sailors Toys. I already had one mint on card, and it looks so freaking good. I had to buy another one when he put them back up for sale. I do not know if they're currently still available, but I do know that Pro Wrestling Tees got in a supply of the first series, and that the first series has come in and out of stock several places since they were first released. So if you watch this and you are as amazed by this figure as I think you might be, don't worry, we'll get it out of here in a minute. Then I believe you'll have the opportunity to purchase one at some point in the future. I think this has the potential to be one of the best figures that came out this year. Raven's one of my favorite wrestlers. There's another aspect to this. You'll notice the Ministry logo down here. One of my favorite bands. I had to have this figure. I want to find Raven at a convention or something, which used to be really easy in the Atlanta area. He would just show up at like every toy show with a table. But I am confident I can get the one that I'm keeping mint on card signed by Raven, and that won't be a big deal. And now that I'm saying that, I'm thinking, you know what? I probably need to compare them both and see which one, or see if one looks a little better than the other. So this is the one that arrived the other day. This is the one that came from the first batch of pre-orders, and something's already jumped out at me. As far as the card, these have pretty solid cards, better than like Hasbro's retro stuff, but not quite as good as Hasbro's. As good as Hasbro, or better than Hasbro's smaller scale retro stuff, but not as good as their 1/12 scale retro stuff. How about that? But it's a solid card, and they have definitely taken more care shipping them than they did back when I did my reviews of Matthew Cardona and Brian Myers. Why did I say Matthew Cardona? Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, which you can check out that review. And I was pretty rough with those. I was throwing them all over the table. I was treating them like toys, and they survived it. I'm not doing that with Raven, but it worked that way. And see, this is interesting because you've got a significant difference. So the first thing that I noticed is that the bubble on this one is overlapping the edge pretty significantly to my eye. This one overlaps a little tiny bit, but not quite as bad. But looking at them, one of them, this one, the jacket is completely open, revealing the Ministry shirt. This one, the jacket is closed a little bit, and you can't see the Ministry shirt as well. But that's not a huge deal. I'm not super worried about that because I don't think I'm going to have Ministry. So Ministry's current tour, they're doing a VIP thing where you meet Al Jurgensen. Wouldn't it be something to have Al Jurgensen sign this as well? But I think the shirt doesn't need to be visible to make that happen. And now I don't know. I'm sorry you guys are sitting here experiencing my thought process. I'm going to have to take a moment. Okay, so even though this bubble is overlapping, if I am going to have the opportunity to have this signed by Al Jurgensen, I want that Ministry shirt showing. But it's showing on that one. You know what? I changed my mind. I need the card to be flush, because if I get this signed, it's going to go in a protector. And this is enough of an overlap that it might mess up a protector fit. And I don't currently have any protectors for Hasbro WWF size figure cards. And you know what? There. Now the decision is made. There you go. Now there's no going back. All right. So on the back of the card, it shows you a bunch of other figures available in the line. I want the Bundy. I want an Andre. I wouldn't mind the Cardona Gauge 2-pack. But the prices on these, and this Raven was the most expensive one, most expensive single figure so far. I hate to even tell you how much it was, but it was $50 because of the soft goods code and because of the increased articulation, which we'll take a look at. It is a deluxe amongst these figures. And because I found the Myers and Cardona figures to be worth their asking price, I went ahead and went in for the Raven. And I will, at some point in the future, if I have the opportunity again, I'll get Bundy and Andre. It's just this time of year, I am not buying any, I'd like to have that stuff. Because it's the holidays, it's Christmas time. I've got to get stuff for my family. So my stuff that I personally want is on the back burner. So we've got a little card down here. Raven, height 6'1", weight 235 pounds, from Short Hills, New Jersey. The twisted and tortured soul known as Raven rules the land of extreme. Raven has had many bloody battles with his arch-nemesis, former childhood best friend Tommy Dreamer. An expert at manipulation, Raven turned the Sandman's own family against him. Interesting to note that they mention Tommy Dreamer and Sandman on this card. Does that mean it's a possibility that Dreamer and Sandman could show up in Heels and Faces? I think maybe. That's just, possible. They give credit for the artwork. Artwork based on a photo by George Napolitano, which I believe was a well-known ECW photographer, wrestling photographer, but known for ECW. And then, like NECA, we've got the credits for everybody that had a role in bringing this piece of art to life, including original WWF Hasbro artist and G.I. Joe artist, Ron Rudat, who is somebody else I could have. My gosh, I could end up with a bunch of signatures on this figure. I just thought about that. I could have Ron Rudat, Al Jurgensen, and Raven all sign this. And then they're all, as far as me getting to them, very much within reason. All right, let's take a look at this figure. I've gotten myself all excited about the potential future of this figure. Let's take a look at the present of this figure. So I also have Danhausen from this line that I have not opened yet because I've heard that his tattoos can be pulled off by his cape. And I'd be really angry if that happened. So I have not opened a Danhausen, even though I've got two of them. Man. So, all right. There he is. Raven in his classic sort of, what about me? What about Raven? Just one of my all-time favorites. Brilliant guy. And to be honest, I didn't see him until WCW because I wasn't an ECW fan, but I have gone back and looked at a lot of his ECW stuff. I've seen the big moments. I've seen the rise and fall of ECW. I've seen, or whatever. I've seen all the big stuff, and I've gone back and watched some of the smaller moments. But just Raven's mentality, his intelligence in the ring, his efficiency, just really, I always loved his counterculture deal. So there is the overall look at the figure, but let's zoom in and you'll really see these details. So the idea behind these figures, I believe, is what if Hasbro's were made today? So these aren't necessarily supposed to be exactly like Hasbro's. As you can see, the detail, the level of detail on this is far in excess of anything that Hasbro ever produced. It is meant to be what if Hasbro's were made with all of the financial backing the market could allow. Stands up very nicely. That portrait, that's Raven. It's perfect. And the necklace, if you notice, is a separate little piece there. The hair, the paint is just absolutely perfect. Looks exactly like Raven's hair. And that facial hair is not just painted on. There's textured textured sculpt. Well, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at it, here we go. I don't know if this is going to help any at all. That may just be painted on, but the paint job, yeah, I think so. But the paint job is so good that it looks like it has texture because there are actually two colors of paint in his beard here. Absolutely fantastic. So my understanding is how you remove this jacket, which take a look at just the craftsmanship here, the zippers, the belt. I mean, this is crazy. It's amazing enough to see effective soft goods at 1/12 scale like Mezco does, but to see them at this size is just unbelievable. The studs on his jacket, all of that detail, and this feels good. It doesn't feel like it's just going to fall apart, which we'll be kind of testing in a moment because from what I understand, you have to pull his arms off to get the jacket off. I'm terrified here. Even though I tested the sturdiness of Cardona and Myers, this is still a little nerve-wracking. I'm trying to figure. Okay, so he's got. Oh, there are joints. He's got shoulder joints, so the arms don't have to stay out like that. You can see a little tattoo work right there. It's just a matter of me figuring out how to pop these arms out. Or do they? Maybe the jacket just pulls off. You know, as complimentary of NECA, I think the fists, yeah, the fists pop out. So maybe the arms don't pop out. Maybe just the fists do. Which, by the way, take a look at the sculpt on that. He's got his Ankh tattoo. But no paint-on wrist tape here. All sculpt, baby. So yeah, we'll pull those arms. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. So there is the jacket. And here is the Raven. Oh, wow. Okay. I don't think I realized he has elbow articulation also. It's going to be tough for me to decide how to display him because his tattoos look so good. We'll get a closer look at those in a second. But look, he has elbow articulation as well. There's a swivel at the top of the elbow and a bend. And I know there are a lot of Hasbro purists who don't like this added articulation in the Hasbro style. And look, I get it. I don't want ankle joints in my O-ring G.I. Joes. I understand. But for me, I didn't grow up with Hasbro. So it's not, I dig it. I respect it. I admire the what the line is, and I've got a bunch of them. But it's not precious to me. So I don't look at this as sacrilege. I just look at it as, well, this is what a Hasbro would look like now. He's got his Rust Never Sleeps tattoo. I used to have to like fake all these tattoos when I would make Raven as a creator wrestler in the video games. I don't love that the shirt is printed on both sides because no t-shirt is actually like that. I think this is probably a factory error that slipped by and is just kind of like, oh well, whatever. But this, if anything, this should have like tour dates or something on it, but it should really just be blank. So it's funny because the factory probably lost money doing this extra the extra tampo execution, when it should really only be on the front of the shirt. I mean, this figure is incredible. This is probably going to be on my top 10 list. So next up, we've got to his flannel comes off from around his waist. You can see all of that great detail. It's got a simple little peg system there that holds it closed well. You can see. And then over here, in order for him to be able to sit in the corner of a ring like he used to do, he has got hip articulation. And I can't remember what the story was behind this pin being visible. Brian Myers explained it, and I don't remember what it was. But that doesn't bother me because this style of figure had little variances like that in them. So take a look. He's got a waist swivel. Look at the detail on those shorts. The weathering. I mean, they look like denim. More tattoos. I mean, this is incredible. Is it worth $50? It is to me. Because we also have to factor in the licensed ministry shirt. He didn't just, the Zombie Sailor didn't just say, hey, I'm going to throw a ministry shirt on here. This is licensed by the band Ministry. Like, Al Jurgensen is aware of this product. And now that I'm looking at this, is the front crooked or is that just, no, that's just how the shirt design is. Okay. And it still looks incredible. It doesn't matter. So let's now compare this Raven to some Hasbros. All right, I just grabbed Slaughter and Piper because they're two of my favorites. And you can see, yes, Raven has some more detail, finer detail, more paint apps, but side by side, in my opinion, these work. They really do. I mean, the proportions, the size, the look. If somebody who wasn't familiar with toys walked into your room, they wouldn't think anything of this Raven being on the shelf with Piper and Slaughter. You can see, likeness-wise, like they've just, these Zombie Sailors figures, heels and faces, to me, they've just hit the right note. They really have. They work. They're very high quality. You know what? I'll go ahead and do it. There. Look at that. It's a toy. Now, I'm not saying you buy these for a kid because you're not going to, well, first of all, what kid is going to really go crazy for like a Raven toy in 2023? But, I'm not saying spend $50 plus shipping to get your kid a Raven toy, but these are sturdy. These are made to toy standards. They're not like made to, while they are adult collectibles, they're not made to like flimsy standards. This is a great, great figure. It's a great, great toy. And it lived up to my expectations and even exceeded them in a couple of ways. I'm thrilled. And I don't know how I'm going to display this on the shelf. If it wasn't $50, I'd probably buy another one to have sitting in the corner of a ring. But as is, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. But whatever the case is, I am glad that I pulled the trigger and got one of these to open because it was well worth opening and absolutely makes my top 10 of 2023, which, by the way, will be coming soon right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel. Until next time, quote the Raven, nevermore. Or always more needless things. Do, 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 do.
Smash that like button if you like needless things.